Beyond Vizcaya is a production of Vizcaya Museum and Gardens in association with our community partners. Together, we're building a legacy of story sharing that honors Miami's past, illuminates its present, and safeguards its future.
Good morning, everybody. We're here at Vizcaya with Steve Biko, who is from Care Resource. His title is Multimedia and Events Director.
Manager.
Not
a director. Yeah.
And we have together done the White Party for many, many years. And with that intro, Steve, take it away.
Thank you so much, Adrian. It's great to be back here after all these years. I was doing White Party since the early 2000s, and we've worked together, for many years, maybe almost 2 decades.
Yes.
Doing White Party here at Vizcaya, but the overall was like 35 years. So, you know, anytime you said White Party to anyone, it was synonymous with Vizcaya.
This is the main entrance.
Yes. Yeah.
And so we're going to walk through and guide you through White Party.
This is where we had our board of directors, and the board of directors were the first ones to greet all of the people who came to the White Party. They made it their honor to stand there and handshake, you know, welcome to the White Party, thank you for supporting Care Resource, the fight against HIV and AIDS, the research that was going on. So it was always a grand experience. I remember for one reason, we couldn't go into the house one year. There was something going on. So we had to like funnel everybody around this side of the house.
The north side.
Yeah, so we actually created a living wall. And you would not know it was not part of the Vizcaya. And as soon as you walked in, you saw a great, beautiful hedge with flowers and everything. And there were hands coming through holding the champagne glasses, bringing you, you know, so, you know, everybody coming in would see the hand. Oh, here's my champagne glass.
Yes.
It was really, it was a lot of fun. There was so much creativity, so many people involved. Yeah. When I first became part of White Party, there was a lot of yachts that would come here. It was a big thing to come to the White Party on your yacht. And, you know, this place would be lined with yachts and boats and stuff coming in here a long time ago.
Right, I remember Bill Mathieson had a lot to do with that.
He did. He was our dock master.
He was your dock master.
He was the dock master.
Exactly.
And he did a great job. I mean, you know, a lot of VIPs showed up by yacht. And it was the only way to come to White Party at that time.
Very, very glamorous arrive by yacht.
It was really nice.
And it was orchestrated very well as well.
We tried. I mean, every year there was a challenge.
Exactly.
Every year there was a challenge, whether, you know, you're waiting on somebody to confirm or, you know, something. And, you know, we'd set up activation areas out here. We'd have a bar over here right before the grass. We'd have another bar over there. Because you know what? People were having fun. We didn't want them to walk far to go get a drink. Right. And there were so many establishments in Miami that wanted to be part of this. You know, how do you say no? So yeah, put another bar, put another bar.
Exactly.
It was a lot of fun. And you met so many people here. You would meet the mayor, you know, you would meet celebrities, you know, who intertwined with all the guests.
Right.
Too.
Some of them that were, I remember Gloria Estefan, Cyndi Lauper,
Yoko Ono. We've had many celebrities here. The crazy time frames.
Right.
And we had a lot of people standing on these back driveways.
But you always got it done. You always got it done. It always looked magical.
Yeah.
And you know, I only have like wonderful fond memories, and I just also, you know, I wanted to say that, you know, we are honored that we were able to have such a meaningful and important, impactful event happen at Vizcaya for so many years, Stephen. Yeah. And I really want to say thank you.
I think I think we both inherited, you know, this iconic fundraiser. It, you know, definitely was heard around the world. You couldn't have a white party without Vizcaya. So we were synonymous in helping each other. I mean, we were, you know, always working together.
Indeed.
Whatever the challenge was,
Indeed.
we got it done. And I think that relationship also kind of helped propel who the white party was, but it also made who the Vizcaya was worldwide.
Absolutely.
Because you'd see pictures of the Vizcaya and you're in France, you know, and so people started knowing who Vizcaya was, and that became, you know, the backdrop for one of the most recognized fundraisers, you know, in our community and around the world. Yeah.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you. Couldn't have done it without you.
Likewise.
I hope there's no bill.
No, not today.
Hi everyone, we are back with another episode of Beyond Vizcaya. My name is Oldine Monestime and I serve as one of the hosts for the live stream. And what we just saw was just some video that shared a little bit of history of the White Party and it being hosted here at Vizcaya. And before we continue, I just want to go ahead and give my co-host the opportunity to introduce himself.
Hi, good to be here. Hi, my friend. Hi, everyone. I'm Julio, Capo, and I'm Vizcaya Scholar in Residence this year. It's my honor to be here and join this incredible conversation in this space. And I'm a historian at FIU. I'm a historian of 19th and 20th century U.S. history, largely focusing on the space, including what we are here in Vizcaya, like looking at the role that Vizcaya has played in shaping so much of our understanding of the world we live in today. Good to be here.
Just want to say I'm having fun co-hosting with you this
Me
season.
too.
It's been great so far. I'm pretty sure it's going to continue to be that way.
Right.
All right. So for those of you that don't remember, Beyond Vizcaya shares stories of the community. We share your stories, and we do that through various themes. This season, we focus on LGBTQ+ stories. And today, again, we're going to be focusing on the White Party. We'll hear a little bit about the origin of this event and how it became known as one of the largest and most iconic HIV/AIDS fundraisers in the world. So we are excited to have a very special guest with us that can tell us all about this important event and how it made a great impact. So Julio, you can do the honors.
It is an honor indeed to get to introduce my friend, the fabulous, the institution, the anchor of our community, Shawn Palacious. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Having you.
It's so good to have you here in this space. So the introduction is going to be long because you're amazing. So a lot of folks might know Shawn Palacious through his drag name, Kitty Meow. Many of us have long admired Shawn and his ability to entertain, to educate, and build community for several decades now. I'm not trying to age you, girl. He achieved national prominence by the early 1990s, no doubt. Kitty Meow and Shawn were everywhere to be seen in that era that you associate with like South Beach's transformation. Think Madonna, think Twist, think Salvation, and of course, the White Party, which had events not just here at Vizcaya, its main home, but also throughout South Beach night spots and beyond in other big cities. As both Kitty and Shawn, our guest hosted the White Party at Vizcaya several times in the 2000s. And as if that wasn't enough, and there's a lot here to say, also the host of White Party in New York City,
Yes.
in Palm Springs.
Yes.
These are big places, y'all. And a little bit more, though, just because I want to give more. Shawn is a celebrity host of Hotspots magazine and Happening Out television. I love the Kitty Meow show. And has a new show debuting August 8th, just like in 2 days, right?
Yes,
called Being Bobby Blair. And you can catch Kitty Meow, too, in her residency in the ultimate gay club, The Manor. Love The Manor. But it's all about her years of service, her commitment to inform, to educate, and to build community for LGBTQ voices, Black voices, people of color voices, making so much space for all of us, every single one of us in this space. It's an honor to be here with my friend.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
So following that, which is going to be hard, I'll start with the first question for you. First of all, again, thank you for being here.
You're very welcome.
Pretty sure
Thank
I'm going
you.
to learn a lot from this discussion with you. So we kind of heard all of the amazing work that you do, pretty much your life's purpose. Maybe I'm assuming by saying that, but I think the question that I really want to know is, how did you get here? Like, what led you to do this work?
Well, I was in the early 90s, I was in college, and the DJ that would spin at all of our college parties said, listen, I have a table. I need you to come over to Miami Beach with me. I want to introduce you to a few people. And that is really how I got my introduction into nightlife, LGBTQ nightlife in Miami Beach. It was an invitation that I received very humbly, but I dove head first, and it was pretty spectacular. It went from there.
That's all.
I think in, researching a little bit about you, I noticed that you focused on underrepresented groups.
Yes.
And, that whole aspect of it. Could you kind of tell us a little bit more about that and the importance of that?
Well, I believe that marginalized and groups that are underserved are always at risk of disappearing. And so I wanted to contribute in a way that was meaningful, where I could, be a voice for it, whether it was, safe sex, HIV awareness. It really means a lot to have the option of looking for, going after something like this. But I think we're in a wonderful community that fertilizes that.
And we're stronger because of the work you do. That is, you have done all those things, and you continue to do all those things. That is so much gratitude for you. And
Thank you. Thank you.
I have to ask, how did it come to be to do White Party? That is how did that opportunity come, and how did that?
Well, the first time I came to the White Party in 1990 was the first time I'd gone. Okay. And so I was a guest of my friend that owns the Sobe Wine and Food Festival. And so he owned a little club called Torpedo. And they said, let us send you as a VIP guest of Torpedoes. And I said, okay. So I went with my friend, who was completely out of his mind. And he kept saying to me, well, this is that. And he was showing me where the boats would pull up. And I thought everyone was in such a beautiful frame of mind and all in love. And he was like, yeah, well, that's the White Party. So a year after me coming for the first time, I was given the opportunity to participate and be one of the hosts for it. And so we were like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So we said, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you were just like, sign me up.
Sign me up. Lard Bennett and Alan Barabee, whom were the directors of the White Party for several years. They had so much community involvement, and every time there was something that was coming up, they would always say, "Well, would you like to participate? Would you like to be a part of it?" And so their association with Care Resource and Vizcaya, it was a marriage meant to be.
And at that point, people knew Kitty Meow from the scene, right? Like that.
Yes. Yeah. There were a few. We had traveled a lot. Representing South Florida. So like you said, we'd done stuff in White Parties in Palm Springs for 15 years. And so we would go to different locations, White Party, Black Party, Green Party in Greensboro, North Carolina. Every city that has a gay bar we've been to and been performing at. So, but of course, the White Party was at the head of the crown jewel of all circuit parties, and that's what it was known as. So it's pretty cool.
And so we know that there was an important cause that came with the White Party.
Yes.
When we think about the founders, Frank Wager,
Yes.
Jorge Suarez. There was just this idea, not just for it to be a fundraiser, but an opportunity to learn and be educated,
Yes.
about the issue at hand. And so kind of my question with regards to that is whether or not you felt that it was an effective way and why.
I definitely felt that it was an effective way to communicate with gay men about what was actually going on in our community at the time, because in Miami Beach, everyone came to Miami Beach to party and have an excellent time. And I remember there was an article that came out, the cover of Interview magazine that said, where gay men come to party and die, Miami Beach. And so at the time, there were so few, advances in vaccines. And so there were so few people, my friends would just to be able to get medicine and to hold on to it, they would have to get it and then stock up with it just to make sure they didn't lose the opportunity to. My good friend Kevin and I were talking about it this weekend, and he was saying how it was almost an impossibility for him to be able to get medicine during that time. Everyone obviously thought that gay men were giving the option of just go, party, have your last dance. And that is actually one of the first times I really understood the severity of what was happening, because I would see European tourists that would come to the Warsaw Ballroom in particular. They would throw their money, that they would decorate in glitter and an airbrush, and they would throw it up for everyone to be able to take, because they had no need to return home with it. Because they,
because they thought that was their final.
Everyone, it was that was pretty much the sentence. And so after of course the white party came around, it was doing so much to help the cause that for the first time in a very long time, everyone had hope and had faith, and knowing that the possibilities were endless, and we were going to survive and continue and thrive. So before that, everyone was pretty much dancing for their last dance, and then when the opportunity, all the advances in technology started to really come to the surface, then everyone was like, oh wait, well, we're not going to die anymore. We can actually live. And all of the credit that I thought I was going to destroy at the very, very end of the 90s, we all had to go back and pull it all together and go back out and get different jobs, because it was so different. It was just it was a different time.
Yeah.
It was definitely a different time.
And I want to hang on to the part where you said, we realized that we weren't going to die, right?
Yeah.
And then there's this hope, this joy that now surfaces. I just kind of want to ask you, being in that environment, having hosts, what was it like? We saw clips, but you tell us, being in that space, what do you remember? What was it like?
I remember that during the month of September and October, everyone would be preparing. Like coming to the white party at Vizcaya was going to the gay Oscars, okay, or the gay Emmys. I mean, everyone that came here, that would travel from all over the world, would come here to South Florida. It was the perfect time of year, because it was, the beginning of season, so to speak, and it was just magical. I mean, we would go to all bridal stores because we wanted to get big flowing, really romantic things, because obviously the backdrop was made so much sense. But listen, there were years we wore feathers, and then there were years we wore cardboard, foam core on our bodies. But we had such an amazing time. It was such a time for people to celebrate and to, just show their own individuality. So it was something that was even more meaningful as,
I love the way thank you for sharing. By the way, the stories are just so powerful, and the opportunity to share these stories. And I feel like especially for younger generations who don't know some of these stories, right? That is if we don't share them, if we don't tell them, they get lost. And that's exactly what you have dedicated your career to, making sure it doesn't happen. When you were talking about this moment, right, where even before, like, let's say the cocktail in the mid-1990s helps kind of make it not a death sentence. But even then, it's prohibitively expensive, and not everyone can afford. And what does that mean disproportionately for some folks and not for others? And what did it mean to be in this space? Like Vizcaya, I love how you kind of, said, like, to be here, to be at Vizcaya in this background, in this, historic mansion, right? Like,
well, people would always think that because Miami it's a tourist destination, it's more transient, that there wasn't a sense of community. But there were lots of people that lived here at the same time, and we were, we were working behind those bars that we were serving drinks to tourists that would come here by the thousands, and knew that this was a destination, to the playground, so to speak, and they would come and they enjoyed it, and now they still do, right?
Yeah,
it absolutely.
It hasn't stopped.
It absolutely has not.
As we look at some of those clips, I was, I'm so in awe by them because it's just the extravagance, and like it's just like and I just kind of, in some ways, it reminds me of like ballroom culture, right? Like, can you speak to that a little?
I definitely can. A lot of people that started out in ballroom started out when we were all like go-go dancing and trying to get into that, be a part of that vibe that was happening when the whole bohemian scene was, on South Beach. So a lot of the people a lot of our colleagues, they were from ballroom. So to see it then, everyone just dress up and make that, the pilgrimage here every year on Thanksgiving weekend. And it would truly just be the social event of the year. The most outrageous, the most over the top, the most outlandish costumes. This is where the backdrop of it was happening for many years.
I love that.
Yeah.
So earlier, Julio asked a question about, I guess, kind of like, why was it a big deal for it to be at Vizcaya, or if there was, kind of like, the significance. Before we get further into that, I recall there being some hesitation with, Vizcaya being the place. So when we think about, again, the founders and, them thinking about where, one of the former board members, I believe, from, Health Crisis Network?
Health Crisis Network.
Right, Greg Baldwin, he sat with our Vizcaya team, Beyond Vizcaya team, and kind of mentions the hesitation behind it being at Vizcaya. So maybe we could take some time to go to that clip and hear some of the fear that came with that.
Thanks for that.
We were very, very conscious of no scandal, no bad mouth against us, because I was scared to death that, there'd be something on Channel 7, big scandal in Vizcaya Gardens, and HCN would be ruined for life. And it was such a success, everybody was dying to do it again. I think everybody would have done it again in 2 months if they could have, but that would have been overkill, of course.
These testimonies,
right?
Well, they're just so powerful, and they're so necessary to kind of making sure that the history is told well. We can't forget, right? White Party was founded in 1985 by groups of activists, like locally here, right? To fundraise for Health Crisis Network, right? And today, Care Resource. That is the joy and the celebration, as you kind of noted, that so many different feelings and emotions can coexist as a form of community, and that's such an important part of all of this. Yeah.
Right. And so was there anything that you can add in terms of, like that significance of it being here at Vizcaya? I know you mentioned community, but I don't know if there's...
I do recall having the greatest sense of pride that it would be at a location like this, because historically, this location, everyone is familiar with it in South Florida. So it was always a situation of great pride and honor that we would be able to host a fundraiser of this magnitude here for the Helsinki Foundation, Care Resource, and the White Party. It was just, you know, it was just, I mean, everyone just really, really, really was so excited about it. It was so enthusiastic about it. Listen, the day after it was done, everyone would start planning for the next year, the next opportunity. You know?
Yeah. So if we didn't mention it earlier, we do want to give you all the viewers a chance to chime in with questions. I know that you're watching on various social media platforms, so please feel free, you know, to enter those questions in the chat. We do have team members monitoring that. Yes. So as we continue with the conversation, we'll be on the lookout for your questions or comments or anything like that. So please chime in.
Please do. I gotta ask, because I have to say now, just kind of like a I don't want to say a throwaway. This is very important, girl. Name names. Who are some of these celebrities you got to see? Some of these stories.
Okay, some of the celebrities. One of the very last years we came in with a boat here was the year that Natalie Cole was the entertainment at the James Hole Night Center in downtown Miami. And so Jeffrey Sanko, who's the event coordinator at the time, brought her in. We were backstage, and I was going to introduce her. Her guy came on. And he said, "Oh, can she borrow your radio?" Because she, at the time, everyone was, you know, she was going to do a set, and she wanted to hear her music. So I loaned them my radio, and then hours later, she was hanging out as if we were all just best friends. It was pretty epic. Madonna being here, when it was 1 year after the hurricanes, there was a big like setback, and so that was the year. It was at the Biltmore in Miami, and Madonna came, and she wore all black, and everyone was booing her. No,
she didn't follow the rules.
She did not follow the rules, and so people weren't as enthusiastic about it, but you know. There was a lot of people that went there that time, and I remembered her coming in, and everyone was, you know, some people would applaud because of just at the time that she lived in South Florida as well. Of course. And so, but yeah, they weren't too happy with her appearance for that one. Calvin Klein would come, and we would hang out a lot. Goodness, so many. Yeah, the list goes on and on. Like anyone that you could basically imagine, like in your greatest fantasy, like the Versace's, or you know, they would always.
It was the hot ticket.
It was the hot ticket. I mean, listen, everyone would be like lining up for weeks and weeks trying to make sure whatever they gave was really so flawless, but. It was also saving the lives of, you know, the local men and women that, you know, the local LGBTQ plus community, whom was, you know, starving for for assistance. You know, the vaccine. It was funds that was available, but it was limited, and so therefore we were all like just hoping and praying that we wouldn't lose another brother or another sister to the unfair and the horrible, the life sentence and the death sentence at the time. Yeah.
It's so important to go and to remind everybody too of that point, right? That is that in this moment, in the lack of government help, right? Like that is especially in the early years, when the government didn't respond, the community came to each other's help, right?
So this is how, this is what we're going to do. Yeah. We're going to empower each other, and we're going to help each other and walk each other through, a very challenging, devastating period. But on the tail end of it, it just gave so much people hope. We have the opportunity to reimagine what our lives could have been had, because initially everyone just thought, it was a doomed sentence, and people would come here for that reason. But as soon as probably the third or fourth year into Care Resources' dedication and commitment to having this event, and it was annual. People would come from all over. I mean, research professors would come from all over the world just because they wanted to see that part of the beginning of it, you know? And so that was something that always made us very proud, because, you know, if it wasn't the DJ or the dancers or the performers, I mean, South Florida always had a very deep scene when it came to like talent. And so it would go from here, and then it would be all over the country. But those were our brothers and our sisters, like, you know, just doing the best they could do to try and, you know, we didn't even have a pride at the time, but we're still here. You know,
We're still here.
Fighting for it and hoping everyone like takes it more seriously.
And remembering those who are not still here, right? As always a kind of an homage to them and what could have been. Like
Arriving here today, it was so quiet, and I thought the silence of all of the souls that lived here before is what I kept feeling, you know, all over my body. I just kept feeling that this was a full circle moment for me. I'm in the clearest state of mind I've ever been in for so many years. And when I would come here, also I was also not living it in, being sober. I wasn't in my sober life, but to see it now, when you're not drinking vodka, or it is even that much more important that, you know, something of this, we've had the ability to come here and to, you know, raise funds for something that has just been, that no one wanted to even think that this was would have been a necessity, but it certainly it's proven itself to be.
I am curious as to if there was any, at least from what you know, opposition, you know, throughout the years with the white party, or, you know, it being viewed in a negative light.
I'm so sure, because at the time when this was all very, very young, and you know, everyone felt like they were in the you know, they could just do anything they wanted. There was a lot of pushback, because a lot of gay men associated Miami and Miami Beach with having a party and really just, you know, letting it all hang out. And then when it started changing from the death sentence to a level of the ability that someone could live and survive and thrive, it was something that we had to take a different look at. You know, we definitely had to do that.
Yep.
Looking back today, now, like as when you were saying that, I have to say I got kind of chills. I got goosebumps about, you know, walking into the space again. What is the legacy of White Party? What do you think it means today?
It was so much more, and I think we lose a certain level of individuality as time goes on. But it was such a necessity for us to, in a collaborative effort, show that we can mobilize, we can get everyone on the same page, and then raise funds for, which was so invaluable at the time. We needed that so badly. Yeah. So just the fact that we have experienced that, and I, you know, I'm very humble with thinking this, because there was so much going on. There was, you know, there was so much happening in our communities where, you know, we hoped that we wouldn't be under attack, and then we were under attack, and then we came through that. And, you know, it's so important for everyone to realize that the journey is only just beginning. We still have to mobilize and try to be supportive of these type of events, especially nonprofit events that help towards, you know, doing for the marginalized and underprivileged what they can't do for themselves.
To show up for each other.
Yes, absolutely, without a doubt.
So I think we want to just kind of take this time to find out if there were any questions that came in.
That's
and
great.
I'm thinking the answer is yes. So we'll go ahead and go to the first one.
Ooh, amazing. Love Kitty Meow. Join the list, the long list of admirers.
Wow.
So I mean, you can decide, but I'm seeing one
Oh
already.
no, we're gonna ask that one. Come on, girl. Kitty, tell us any scandalous moments.
Oh, okay.
Anything you did or saw
So-
that would raise eyebrow? Good
Okay, so-
question.
Okay, so that last question, my dear friends, Fantasy, China Girl, and myself, we were chosen by Bacardi to do Tom, Dick, and Harry by day, Bacardi by night.
Yeah.
And Bacardi was one of the main sponsors of the White Party for so many years. But they had originally started this casting call all over the country, and they had like caricatures, just in like cartoon drawings of who Tom, Dick, and Harry would represent. And then months later, we get the call that I got it, and my two friends who were roommates at the time, they also got it. So Bacardi really wanted to have an integral part of the diversity, equity, and inclusion, and they were such champions for it from the outset that they sent us off to New York. We were doing this photo shoot for Tom, Dick, and Harry by day, Bacardi by night, and then we were back here at, the White Party, and we would travel all over the country as well. Bacardi would take us for 3 years. We would travel to, if it was in Milan, if it was in, New York, if it was, just all over, they would travel, they would take us, and we would get to represent Bacardi and be the spokespeople for Tom, Dick, and Harry by day, Bacardi by night.
That's so interesting. I mean, one of the cool things about this too is like you see a shift in the movement that is in the LGBT, like we're suddenly corporate sponsors.
Yes.
I mean, before, in earnest, really the 80s, like you see that actually happen more in the 90s. Corporations were not interested.
No, they were
You
not.
know, they were not signing on board.
It was a huge stigma, actually, to
Right.
be associated with, a big nonprofit or or just being brave enough to put yourself out there and say,
Yeah.
we want to participate, we want to help our brothers and our sisters. It's outrageous, but corporate America is now understanding and participating, but I wished it was 300. I wish it all the time. I say this when we go to prides. I wish it was 365 days of the year. We should have, those organizations, or the organizations should really be going after we want a consistent support, and because other than that, it really means nothing.
Right. It can't be a month and done,
No,
right?
no. It has to be 306. Pride 365.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to kind of follow up on that other question. And remember, this is PG-13, but anything
Yes,
you want
yes,
to
yes.
share?
Let's see.
Nothing. It could just be interesting. It doesn't have to be scandalous.
I know. But I just, for so many years, I would not say anything.
No,
so I have like this.
No pressure,
I have this ability to like just,
Okay.
No.
put the kibosh on it. But I would say that. Okay, so the times when the times when you would get to hang out with people that you least expected it. Okay, so you know who Denise Rich was? Her husband.
actress?
No. Her husband was a huge friend of the Clintons. He was someone who was pardoned by he was in Europe. Yeah, so. He was actually on the boat that night that Natalie Cole was there, and Denise, who was a very good friend of Natalie, who wrote several songs for her, and Luther Vandross and all these. There was a lot of that on our boat. Oh, and Casey and the Sunshine Band would also bring his really palatial yacht here. And I remembered we would like go up and down, and they would say, "Well, you have to take off your shoes to get on the boat, right?" And so I thought I was so cool and so hip. I was like, "These are Vivienne Westwoods. I wear them on the boat," and they would be like, "Oh, just come on in." So Wallace Tutt, who was the guy that designed Versace's out by the pool and all of that, he would also have a really fancy yacht. The yacht that you saw us all coming in on, that was from Miami Go magazine. And I have to get you guys, these are Bacardi, we did Bacardi souvenir books.
Oh, right.
And so the year of the White Party, we have to get them.
Yes.
I have to get them for you.
Oof.
It'll be so much fun.
You got what you asked for. You got all the good stories.
Well, you made sure you were pulling.
I was like, girl.
Thank you, Shawn, for sharing what you were able to share. Okay. Do we get any others before we wrap up?
You know,
Okay.
one of the things I love too is that like, as people are watching, as people like, everyone has their own stories.
Yeah.
Like that it's literally thousands of people where this is a community story because it affected so many people.
Yes.
And whether you kind of just like pass by one year as a tourist, as a local, or you saw it in the news, you knew what White Party was, and like you were a part of like the broader story, and like you got a story about White Party, you know, and like you got to share it because it's if you don't share it, it gets lost.
Right.
When I first started utilizing the advances of social media, I just realized at least now I'm going to be able to maintain contact with so many people who came in and out of your life, and then you get to reunite with them and share really fond memories. It's pretty cool.
Well, Shawn, thank you for sharing your story. Obviously, that's really important. Thank you for the work that you've done and the work that you're continuing to do. It's very important, and I'm pretty sure it can't be easy, so hats off to you. And Julio, thanks for, being such an awesome co-host.
Same. Goodness, you make it easy. And you make it easier. Goodness, I could talk to both of you forever.
Yeah. And then to the viewers, of course, we want to thank you for tuning in and for sharing the fun questions. We appreciate it. And it doesn't stop here. If a question comes up later, feel free to send it, and we'll do our best to get a response to you. But in the meantime, continue to follow us on beyondvizcaya.org, and we will be back with another great episode for you. So have a great evening, everyone.
Take care.